You are standing in front of a mirror right now, or you will be soon. And without thinking about it, you will put on clothes. You will choose a color, a fabric, a fit. You will do this as naturally as breathing. But here is the thing nobody ever asks. Why? Not why you picked that shirt. Why any of it? Why your species, alone among every creature on this planet, wraps itself in a second skin before facing the world? The answer is not what you think, and it goes much, much deeper than staying warm. Go back, way back. About 3.3 million years ago, your earliest ancestors walked the African savanna almost completely bare. No fur, no feathers, just skin. And for a long time, that was fine. They lived in a warm climate. They moved constantly. They sweated to cool themselves in a way no other primate could match. Nakedness was not a vulnerability, it was a superpower. So what changed? Climate scientist Peter Domenical at Columbia University has spent decades analyzing sediment cores from the ocean floor off the coast of Africa. Those sediment cores hold a record of every major climate shift going back millions of years. And what they reveal is startling. Around 200,000 years ago, Earth's climate became wildly, brutally unstable. Long droughts, sudden cold snaps, centuries of rain followed by centuries of nothing. Your ancestors did not just have to survive one environment, they had to survive all of them, one after another, without knowing when the next one was coming. And that is where clothing enters the story. Not as fashion, not even as warmth, but as a survival technology so powerful, it may have been the difference between your existence and your extinction. The first evidence of clothing is not a fragment of fabric. Fabric does not survive hundreds of thousands of years. Instead, the evidence is biological. In 2003, a team of researchers led by Mark Stoneking at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology did something strange. They studied lice. Specifically, they compared the DNA of human head lice to human body lice. These two species are nearly identical. They diverged from a single common ancestor, and by calculating the genetic distance between them, how long it would take for that much mutation to accumulate, they were able to estimate when body lice first appeared. Body lice, crucially, can only live in clothing. They need fabric to lay their eggs. They cannot survive on bare skin. The answer they got was somewhere between 83,000 and 170,000 years ago. That is when body lice split from head lice. That is when clothing began. Let that land. Your ancestors were wearing clothes before they painted cave walls, before they buried their dead, before they built the first known structures. Clothing was not a late addition to human culture. It was one of the earliest. But why then? What happened 170,000 years ago that made clothing suddenly necessary? The answer is a near-extinction event. Around 195,000 years ago, a devastating ice age gripped southern Africa. Temperatures dropped. Rainfall collapsed. Grasslands turned to desert. The human population, your entire ancestral line, shrank to perhaps a few hundred individuals. Some geneticists call this bottleneck. Others call it the moment humanity almost did not happen. A small group of people retreated to the southern coast of Africa, where the ocean kept temperatures just survivable. And they adapted. They fished. They gathered shellfish. They invented new tools. And according to the lice research, they started covering themselves. Not with the elaborate garments you know today. With hides. Animal skins scraped clean, tied, or draped over the body. The technology was crude, but the idea it represented was revolutionary. Your ancestors were no longer at the mercy of the climate. They were pushing back. They were wearing the environment. Anthropologist Ian Gilligan at the University of Sydney has argued that the invention of clothing is one of the most underappreciated cognitive leaps in human history. To make clothing, even a simple hide garment, you have to plan ahead. You have to kill an animal, preserve its skin, prepare it, shape it, and attach it to your body. All before you are cold. That is abstract thinking. That is the ability to imagine a future state and work backwards from it. The same cognitive ability that would one day let humans build cities, write books, and send machines to other planets. In other words, clothing did not just protect the body, it revealed a mind. Now here is where it gets stranger, because warmth is only part of the story. Maybe not even the biggest part. Look at the archaeological record more carefully. The earliest known sewing needles discovered in Siberia date to around 50,000 years ago. By this point, humans were moving into far colder environments. Northern Asia, eventually Europe, eventually the Arctic. They needed sophisticated, tailored clothing just to survive, and so they built it.